Hey friends, Jeanette here with Vivo Vintage Designs. Welcome to today's tutorial. It is Sunday morning. I'm enjoying a cup of coffee. It is another rainy day here in New Jersey. So to start my day, I thought I would paint a pretty little spring bouquet in watercolor. And I'll be doing this in a very loose style. So you can see I have pre-mixed all my colors that I intend to use in this painting in my little palette. And I have tiny little brushes because I'm using a very small piece of our 100% cotton watercolor paper. And so because my painting is small, I'm using smaller brushes. And here I am painting a rose. I'm using the very tip of the brush to create these C curves. And as I go further out for the rose, I dip my brush into the water to release some of the pigment, and I continue to go around until I get what looks like a rose. And then I will take a little bit of that pink color and in a thicker consistency and drop it around the inside. And here I'm painting a simple daisy. So I have taken some brown color and dotted with the tip of the brush to create the center of the flower. And of course my washi tape is coming undone. So I'm going to hold my paper down. And then I have a mix of yellow with a little bit of orange, and I'm just creating some very simple petals along that brown center that I created. And here I'm creating what might be a poppy or just a 5-petal flower. Doesn't have to be any flower in particular, but I'm just using the tiny brush to create these little petals. And in this type of painting, you can be very loose. If it resembles a flower, it's a flower. And that's what's great about painting like this, is that you're just giving the impression. It doesn't have to be any flower in particular. And here I'm using a purple color and using the tip of the brush just to make some marks on the paper in a row, as you can see. And I'm going to call that lavender. So I'm going to add a couple of those little sprigs here and there just to fill in the area. And this is a very relaxing, no pressure, no stress type of painting. And I don't do loose painting very often. I am more of a detailed painter. I like painting animals and making my paintings more realistic looking when I paint with watercolor. But when I paint like this, it's just so relaxing because you don't have to worry about getting everything perfect. You're giving the impression of what you're trying to convey. So just a couple of brush strokes and you've created a flower. So if you're new to watercolor, this is a fun exercise that you can practice in order to learn control of your brush and water and paint, and at the end of it you still have a beautiful little painting. And you can see that it doesn't really take a lot of effort or even a lot of time. Here I'm going to create another rose, and you can see I'm making those little C curves with the tip of the brush, and then I'm dipping my brush back into the water to release some of the pigment and continue with those C curves all around until I have what looks like a rose. And to fill in the empty areas, I'm just going to do a couple more of these little, like I said, lavender sprigs. But really, you're just making marks on the paper. And then connecting it all with stems and leaves and bringing it all together. So now I'm going to start filling in by creating leaves. So I have a couple of different shades of green that I'll be using. And I'm just going to go all around the painting here and there, wherever I think I need to fill in an area, and I'm going to add some leaves. And to create the leaves, I am not trying for perfection here. I'm just using the tip of the brush, the side of the brush, to create what looks like a leaf. So you can see there are some areas in between the flowers that I want to fill in with a little greenery. So I'm just making a mark in that area, and I'm going to call that a leaf. Now I'm going to create the vase, and you can see just how easy this is. So I'm taking a larger brush and I've dipped it in some of that purple color. And I'm just creating a round shape. And then I'm taking my brush, dipping it in the water to release some of the pigment. And then I'm going to swoop around the lines that I created with the paint and soften those lines a little bit. And then once I'm done doing that, I'm going to dip into the heavier consistency without putting too much water on my brush, just to drop a little bit of a heavier color on the sides and on the bottom of my vase, as well as underneath the flowers to create a little shadow. Very simple. Then I decided that I need a couple of more flowers here and there. So again, just picking up the brush, making a couple of marks. And it's a daisy. And then I figured I needed a little bit more of the pink and a couple of little flowers drooping down. So I just picked up a little bit of color and I just made a couple of marks on the paper, connected it to a stem, and it's a flower. You don't want to really think too much about it. You just want to fill in the areas until you're satisfied with the way that it looks. So you're not going for perfection here. You should enjoy this process, and it should be stress-free. So now I'm going to create a little bit of shadow. So I'm trying to create a kind of grayish color with the paints that I already have in my palette. So I'm adding a little bit of deeper colors to just mix and make a grayish color. So what I'll do next is I'm going to take a larger brush and I'm going to wet the area where I want my shadow to be. Then I'm going to pick up that mixture and I'm going to drop it in the area that I wet down with the brush just a moment ago. And then I'm going to drag some of that color down so that it blends with the water and gives me nice soft edges. And then I'm going to darken underneath the vase where the shadow would be a little bit darker. And with that, I have a really pretty simple painting that didn't take me more than maybe 10 or 12 minutes to make. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you give it a try. Check out the description box for links to the products used. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.